Greetings, my dear beloved children. Today we will talk about the Archangel Raphael. His service to humanity is in healing their souls and bodies. What way does it happen and why is it important not to separate the two components of healing, soul and body? You are already well aware that any disease results from unbalanced inner state of an individual. At first, as a result of emotional overload of negative character, one soul gets ill, and then one body gets the blow. It is reflected in your language too. Be sick at heart, heart aches, heavy heart. This is exactly the state that is the precursor of this or that disease, physical disorder. Depending on the type and the part of human energy field negative energy accumulates, this or that organ fails or the work of some of vital functions gets interfered. And sometimes emotionally unbalanced person can provoke several diseases at a time, most often being unconscious of all the cause-effect chain of the events one finds oneself in. One starts healing one body, neglecting the soul. And at this point one is supported by the Archangel Raphael, whose task is exactly in drawing one attention to the soul, making one review one life and understanding the underlying reasons of one disease. The healing of the Archangel Raphael can rather be called spiritual, for he can actually help only those who have realized the things resulted in sufferings of the body. Each of you is likely to find a lot of examples both in your own life and in those of your acquaintances when literally bedridden people completely reappraised their whole life and changed their priorities, sometimes for the opposite ones. And then there happened a miracle recovery from incurable diseases in some cases, and it was followed by one spiritual revival, one second birth indeed, after which one drastically changed one lifestyle and made quite different things their top priorities of spiritual, not material character. While if one persisted in one inveterate opinions and went on generating negative energies of all kinds, there was no recovery, no matter how long one invoked the light forces for help. In such cases neither the Archangel Raphael nor other ascended masters were able to reach one in terms of vibrations and hear the call for help. Therefore the expression "heal your soul" first is the key to the healing of the body. Only after the transformation of negative energy to positive one you can trigger the process of your body healing. And in this case one is really assisted by all the higher powers of the universe and, first of all, by the Archangel Raphael, whose role is to screen the soul state of the ill. If he sees that the soul of an ill person is reviving, he sends them enormous flows of the divine energy of love, the most salutary in the universe. Yet, it is up to an individual to choose whether to accept it or not. The Archangel Raphael can just give you a helping hand, but he cannot do the work of your soul for you. And due to this example I would like you to see once again how one of the main laws of the universe works, the law of the free will. Therefore, before you invoke the Archangel Raphael, listen intently to your soul and your inner feelings. See if you are ready to learn the truth in the raw and understand the causes of your disease at the deep level, if you can change reviewing your attitude to life and the people around you. If so, the Archangel Raphael will be glad to help you heal your soul and body. Today I would like to summarize the series of my messages on archangels. Of course, I told you not about all the archangels but only about those of them who directly participate in supporting humanity during transition, since this is what the main concern now for all the higher powers of the universe is. As you see, in spite of the fact that each of the archangel mentioned by me has their own distinctive features of work with humans, their own nuances and peculiarities, they share the main task: spiritual revival for as many people as possible so that they can exist in a new high vibration space of the earth of the fifth dimension. And now I would like to offer you a universe practice for interaction with archangels that will enable you not only to get tuned into the vibrations of each of them but to consolidate your liaison with them at the subtle level. For this you should attentively read my previous messages about each of the archangels so as to get a clear idea of specific character of help to humans. Each of you can give your own description of their activity that will be clear and comprehensible to you. It is better to put it in several words and write down on paper in distinct and neat handwriting. Feel the energy profile of the words written by you. It will be different for each of archangels. And then put both your palms over the piece of paper, hold them a little above it and feel the united flow of the energies emanating from it. Try to remember these sensations, and each time you ask one of archangels for help, use these divine notes. Be creative in this work. Feel when and who you should address, what your weak points are at this or that moment of your life. Or maybe, you should address all the archangels simultaneously when you, for example, work with human collective conscience. In this case their help will be invaluable. My series of messages about archangels was aimed at showing you in a more vivid way the role of these amazing devoted to humans angel creatures in your life and give a clear identification of the role of each of them so that you can address them as close living beings completely realizing and physically perceiving the energy bond to them. I hope, my dear, it will make your spiritual life considerably richer and will enable you to ascend one more step up on your way to ascension. Today we will go on talking about the light forces, and this time we'll look into what angel army of the Archangel Michael is, who these soldiers are and what their role in support of humanity is. Why do I call these angels army? Only because of the fact that they have a strict order like in the army, and this army is headed by the Archangel Michael. This angel structure has a lot of subdivisions with their own heads, big and small, but they are based not on the power hierarchy usual to you and the principles of mindless submission of the inferior to the superior, but the principles of unity and divine expediency. And now we will consider each of them one by one. What is unity in the angel army of the Archangel Michael? Before all, it is the unity of aim that is confrontation to the dark forces. Each of these light soldiers has mindfully chosen service to the good of humanity, protection of people from the dark forces of all kinds and levels. Well, how have they become such light soldiers? They are mostly souls who have traveled a long road wandering through the worlds of the third density both on Earth and on other planets of your galaxy. They experience the horror of bloody wars and revolutions, pain and sorrow of those who were involved into them. In some of their incarnations they were winners and conquerors, while in others they were enslaved and humiliated. They were born men and women learning all the facets of existence in the worlds of low densities. Gradually gaining this invaluable experience, their souls advanced further and further along the spiritual development path until they reached the level of existence in the fifth and even the sixth densities. Finding themselves at this level, they could choose now to descend to the world of the third density again, or remain at the subtle level and help people in following their earthly road, making use of their own experience of life on Earth. And many of them chose the latter, being aware that from the subtle level of Earth their support of humanity can appear much more efficient, since from here they see the picture as a whole, and it means their energy influence will be more purposeful and will be more beneficial for people. Moreover, each of the light soldiers of the Archangel Michael chooses himself the area of his activity ranking among the subdivision where he can be most helpful, and this choice is often determined by the experience of his previous incarnations. Thus, some of them choose the struggle with demons and astral beings of anger, aggression, hatred, while some others with those of envy, jealousy or greed. As a rule, they work with the energies that once caused most sufferings to them themselves, and they fight against the beings who generate these energies, thereby protecting people from them. As in the world of the dark forces there are demons of all kinds of negative energies having in subordination entire armies of astral beings feeding on these energies themselves and imbibing people with them. There are commanders in the army of the Archangel Michael that specialize in work with this or that negative energy, but in this angel army everything is aimed at one and only thing: spiritual revival of humanity and freeing it from everything undivine by purifying people energy space from all the alien energies and programs. Thus, being an intermediary link between the Archangel Michael and safeguard angels of people, these light creatures faithful to you perform their service, helping you go further and further on along the spiritual development road, the road they themselves have already successfully covered. Well, now we will talk about the other principle underlying the activity of the heavenly army of the Archangel Michael, the principle of divine expediency. It is this principle that is the main starting point of the interaction of all the light forces with human souls being incarnated in the worlds of the third density, and Earth is not an exception to this. As you already know, the law of the free will is strictly observed by all the creatures inhabiting the higher worlds. Therefore, any intrusion into the energy space of an individual and, moreover, into their destiny, is a matter of great nicety and tact for the light forces. Before such intrusion occurs, they estimate all the possible developments, and only if an individual is really endangered, while they themselves or their safeguard angel ask for help, such help is provided and in the form in compliance with divine expediency again, so as to make the mechanism of interaction of a human being and light soldiers of the Archangel Michael more understandable. Let us have a case study. Sometimes one who has switched over to service, and consequently, directly constitutes a menace to the dark forces, becomes an object of severe attacks by the latter. As a rule, such a person first tries to protect themselves, purifying their energy space, balancing the chakra system and trying to maintain positive psychological mood. But if the attacks do not cease and they feel being unable to manage them themselves, they invoke the Archangel Michael for help. What happens next? Depending on the type of the negative energy this attack features, to this person is attracted this or that army officer of the heavenly guard of the Archangel Michael so as to assess the situation. And this is a crucial moment since the dark forces attacks can convey a wide range of energies, those of offense, envy, jealousy, aggression, hatred. For example, the energy of vigorous offense can be similar to aggression or hatred and can turn fatal for the one it is directed to. This is exactly the reason why light soldiers start their work with identifying the source of evil, the kind of negative energy that they are to neutralize and bring to light the creatures generating it. Yet, it should always be kept in mind that a human being themselves as a divine creature cannot do any harm to anyone. All the energy attacks are implemented by the astral beings of different kinds and levels that this person has attracted to their energy space by negative thoughts and emotions. And the light forces fight exactly against astral beings, not against a human being, though it is an individual who is to blame for triggering the attack or, to be more exact, responsible for it. So, having identified what subdivision of the heavenly guard should be brought into play in each particular case, light soldiers get down to work, and at the subtle level there takes place a real astral battle, the outcome of which is mostly dependent on the state of the human being who asked for help. If they themselves are not obsessed by any type of negative energy, then, as a rule, the result of the battle is predetermined in favor of the light forces, while if they themselves generate low vibration energies fortifying the ground of the dark forces, then their protection at the subtle level becomes far less efficient. Now, do you understand, my dear, why I repeat so often to you that you must not respond to aggression with aggression, to offense with offense? Thereby you give your strength to dark, depriving yourself of the full value defense of the light forces. Always remember this and take any stroke of fortune as another test that you will deal with quickly and painlessly only if you do not imbue it with your negative energies and, consequently, let light soldiers of the Archangel Michael to support you as much as possible from the subtle level of earth. Today we will go on talking about angels, but this time focus will be laid on those of them who help the archangels Metatron, Gabriel and Uriel to lead humanity way to a new world, the energy space of the fifth dimension. Same as the assistants of the archangels Michael, these creatures of light were once wandering for a long time in the worlds of the third density, and therefore they are full of sympathy and compassion to the people embodied on earth now. Like nobody else, they understand the huge difference between the worlds of low and high dimensions and are happy that light souls embodied on earth now are given the chance to make the breakthrough never witnessed before, transition from the third dimension right to the fifth one, in their physical bodies at that. Well, what is their role in human life? Before all, they are intermediaries between archangels and safeguard angels of people. In other words, they maintain the energy corridor between an individual and an archangel, and they do it mindfully, not automatically, but contributing their own energies to that, convey to the common energy flow from the heaven the shades and nuances that this or that person needs at this particular moment. Thereby angels share with a person their own experience that they lived through many times and felt deeply during their incarnations on earth. And this is how it happens in practice. For example, one heard that Earth is moving to a new energy space and started to search more and more new information about this. Yet, since this information is absolutely unknown and incomprehensible, one is getting overwhelmed by doubt whether all this is true, and one is about to reject it as a fairy tale or castle in the air so as to return to unusual material-oriented lifestyle. So, in this case, one safeguard angel applies for the Archangel Metatron, Gabriel and Uriel so that one still could go on with one's spiritual development. And if archangels see that the soul of this person has really chosen ascension, they start systematic and multi-stage work with them. And at this point the life experience of each of the angel assistants turns out to be invaluable indeed. They know how, where and what this person should catch sight of what exactly can become the main turning point of their life, making them ultimately sure of the information on the ascension of Earth being true and help them feel the events taking place on Earth being irreversible and real. Having received the confirmation of such actions being appropriate from their archangel, angel assistants get down to work in close cooperation with this person's safeguard angel who, unlike them, can help the one in their ward at the physical level, too. As a result, in the most miraculous way one finds the things to their heart, articles, films, sites, scientific researches that inspire them to believe that Earth is actually changing and humanity is moving to a new era. Their environment is changing swiftly, too. Old friends disappear and one makes new ones. The material component of life now plays a supporting role, while the spiritual one comes into picture. All this happens rather quickly and almost unnoticeable for the person themselves. And a great merit here is of your angel assistants who chose their service as support of humanity during transition from the subtle level, sharing their own experience on spiritual revival with people, the one they were gaining in a prolonged and painstaking way. They are excited about your, unlike theirs, covering this road in the shortest possible time and living through the amazing experience of ascension of Earth with her best representatives. Therefore, they are doing their best to maintain your vibrations up to the mark even at the most difficult moments of your life and make the fifth dimension not a fairy tale but a reality for you, helping you move there by your conscience and get used to this new amazing high vibration space. Today we will talk in detail about angel assistance of the Archangel of Seraphim. At present, with the mass revival of people from the century-old spiritual slavery, the amount of work for the Archangel Seraphim and his angel team is especially huge. You have already read in my message a lot of times that at present there is in progress struggle for each human soul. Why is it so important now? Because there is at stake the success of a great experiment of the universe-scale transition of Earth with her inhabitants into another dimension, and each earthling vibrations make their contribution to this process. Thus, low vibrations pull the planet down, while high ones facilitate her advance, for you are still an integral part of Earth and, consequently, participate in making her overall vibration profile. That is why, helping one make spiritual progress, angels and archangels at the same time also help your planet overcome the last barrier separating her from the long-awaited ultimate transition to a new era. So now, when everyone is facing the dilemma, whether to live in fear and submission or remain a free divine creature taking responsibility for one own life and one children's life, they are in need of support and help from above as ever. And here it is, my dear, powerful, inexhaustible, featuring unlimited and unconditional love to each of you. It is mostly due to the support of the Archangel Seraphim and his angels that people revive spiritually and gain belief in themselves, which enables them to act in a more decisive way at the physical level, this time protecting themselves and their children from ruinous for their health and psyche absurd instructions of authorities executing the will of the hidden world government. Your heavenly assistants tirelessly fill you with the energies of unity, love and belief in yourself. They dissolve the energies of fear and inferiority that literally hover in the air, paralyzing the will of the majority of your planet population. There is in progress fierce confrontation between light and dark that all the archangels and angels participate in, who have chosen service to humanity at this time supreme for Earth. And now, the mission of the Archangel of Seraphim angels is mostly in supporting each person who took courage to go against the mainstream and inflaming the fire of love in their soul, as well as giving them spiritual strength and belief in themselves. In other words, they help each revived person to realize themselves as a particle of the Creator and arrange their life from the perspective of a free individual now, not a slave of the rotten system that was created by reptiloids and has had its days on Earth. And thoughtless chaotic actions of the latter to some extent help them in this. More and more people are becoming aware of the trap they got into and of those who have spread these devil nets for them. So right now, the main concern for the Archangel Seraphim and his assistants has become working with the conscience of this new wave of the revived people. They help these people take the hardship sent without anger or hatred, which just destroy them physically and morally, directing their energy a positive and constructive way. And you already see the results of their work. In many countries of the world there has started the mass movement of disobedience that unites professional doctors, lawyers, politicians and public figures, and this movement will gain in strength and scale with every single day. Thereby your invisible heavenly assistants take an active part in life of people, directing their energy not to destruction but to creation. And all this happens due to the fact that safeguard angels and archangels carry out unceasing and systematic work with the soul of each revived person, filling them with divine energies of highest vibrations. Today I will tell you about angel assistance of the Archangel Raphael, one of the main healers of human souls and bodies. Nowadays, With the increase of human vibrations, big changes are taking place not only with their souls but bodies as well, with both biological and structural alterations occurring in them. So far such things have never happened to people incarnated in physical bodies. Between incarnations, the human soul ascending to higher dimensions of the subtle level usually got later incarnated in the worlds that it was able to be attracted to by vibrations. Yet, on your planet everything occurs in a different way. Your physical bodies are being pulled to your soul vibrations and to the new vibrations of Earth. And while the soul, because of various circumstances, can make an instant breakthrough in its development, things are different for your physical bodies. Your body is a fragile and sensitive structure, and any sharp drops are pernicious for it. Therefore, the rearrangement of your body is going on gradually and is mostly dependent on your soul state. Well, how does this correspondence show? The thing is that the purer and lighter your soul is, the less negative energies and destructive alien programs get into your energy space and, consequently, into your physical body. You are now well aware of the fact that any disease is caused, first of all, by psychosomatic reasons, and by eliminating them anyone can recover by themselves. And, as a rule, such healing occurs due to one enlightenment, that is, filling oneself with light, or, in other words, with the energy of love. It is the energy of love that is the main remedy that angel assistants of the Archangel Raphael generously give to people. But now their task has become more complicated since they have assumed a new target, not just heal people but help them readjust their physical bodies into light crystalline ones. For this purpose they constantly have to maintain vibration balance between human soul and body, and they are supported here to a large degree by the angel team of the Archangel Gabriel, who regulate human chakra scale so as to keep the balance between an individual soul and body necessary at this moment. Why is it so essential? Before all, because any high vibration energies overdosing has a ruinous effect on the human physical body that is still in the third density space. This is exactly the reason, my dear, why I ask you to be attentive to your physical and psychic state and work with the energies you can take in painlessly. Thereby you will help not only yourself but also angels and archangels who are doing their best to maintain balance in your energy space so that transition runs in the way as harmonious and natural for you as possible. Nowadays there is in progress fine-tuning of each person's vibrations onto the new vibrations of Earth. And it is really essential you learn to turn the knob of the receiver yourself that catches these high-frequency vibrations new to you so that your physical body does not suffer but happily responds to them, thereby triggering the mild and painless process of its rearrangement into the light crystalline one. Well, let us go on talking about how you can learn to get tuned onto your soul and the new vibrations of Earth so as to help your body obtain the parameters necessary for transition. As you already know from numerous messages of the higher powers, the light crystalline body, unlike your present one, knows no pain or diseases. And it happens not only because of the fact that it possesses a different structure and biological composition but also because finding itself in the space of the fifth dimension, your soul now does not face sufferings elicited by both your own low vibration thoughts and emotions and those of other people. In other words, in the fifth dimension the soul and body exist in a perfect harmony with each other and the world in similar vibrations and in the single energy of love. And whatever fantastic it may seem to you now, this is the way it will be, my dear. Yet, to make it happen as quickly as possible, you should make some efforts and learn to interact with your heavenly patrons, safeguard angels, and archangels. Wonderful time is approaching when heavens are gradually uniting with Earth, and those who have always seemed to be heavenly beings unreachable and distant are becoming close and dear creatures who help you in everything, share their experience, protect and save you from the dark forces. Many of you have already learned to feel their presence, their loving and tender energies, their gentle and delicate influence on your souls and bodies. So now, I will offer you a practice that will help you fortify this state and maintain your liaison with your angel assistants. Let us call it Angel Elbow. I would like it to become your everyday practice, not a meditation, since you can do it wherever you want and whatever long depending on the situation and your inner state. But, of course, for good results you should be calm and balanced. So, let us move on to the practice itself. For a start, you should invoke all your spiritual guides, your safeguard angel, as well as the archangels Michael, Metatron, Gabriel, Uriel, Seraphim, Raphael and all their angel assistants. Feel their presence. Listen intently to your sensations, and when you make sure they have heard you and come to your calling, Ask them to tune your soul and body onto the new vibrations of Earth. Then again listen to your body. Feel what is going on to your subtle bodies. And only after that, as vividly and brightly as possible, start to imagine your physical body being rarefied, light, weightless and shining. Thanks to the presence of so many light creatures around you who are flying you to the space of the fifth dimension on their wings, you can work wonders there, indeed healing diseases, purifying all vital functions of your body, eliminating physical flaws. In other words, you can start creating your light crystalline body. Listen to your intuition. Perhaps you will feel you need help of a particular archangel. For now you are familiar to the specialization of each of them. Ask him for help, and he will respond to your request. By all means, approach this practice in a creative way, my dear. Communicate with your heavenly assistants as with your close friends who you are to meet in reality quite soon now. I bless you and love you immensely. Father Absolute spoke to you.